My name is Alex. I'm 29, and I've always been the quiet achiever in the family. Not the favorite, not the rebel, not the golden child, just the dependable one. The one who shows up, pays on time, stays late to help clean after family parties, and doesn't make a scene when someone accidentally forgets his birthday. I'm not bitter. At least I wasn't. Not until the cruise. Every year, my extended family plans this big annual vacation together. They rotate between ski lodges, beach resorts, cruises, sometimes even Europe. It's always the same crew: my aunts, uncles, cousins, and whoever they're dating that year. Ever since I turned 24 and started earning decent money, I've quietly picked up part of the tab each time. Not the whole bill, just enough to cover one or two people so no one had to cancel. They never really asked, but they always assumed I'd help. Alex has it. Alex can swing it. It was never discussed openly, just whispered like it was part of my role. Reliable, generous, quiet. This year was different. I'd just wrapped up a grueling quarter at work. I'd barely taken any days off in months, pulling double shifts and weekend projects so I could hit a deadline. My bonus was finally about to land, and it was a big one. I thought maybe, just maybe, I'd be able to join the cruise this year without worrying about work calls and emergency logins. I even mentioned it to my cousin Zoe during a coffee meetup. She smiled and said, "You should totally come. It's going to be a blast. Mexico, Aruba, St. Thomas. Everyone's going. Except me." 2 weeks later, I saw the group chat explode with photos of tickets, cabin assignments, and cruise countdown memes. My name wasn't anywhere. No invite. No message. Not even a "Hey, are you coming this year?" I waited a day, then another. Finally, I texted my Aunt Lisa, who usually organizes the trip. "Hey, just checking, did I miss something? Was there a separate invite or email for the cruise?" She replied an hour later. "Hey, sweetie. We figured you'd be super busy with work again this year. Didn't want to pressure you." Smiling face with smiling eyes. That smiley face made my stomach drop. I didn't respond. I just stared at the message for a while, letting it sink in. They didn't forget. They decided. On my behalf. And somehow that felt worse. Like I was a minor character in my own family. The next day, I was scrolling through my bank notifications during lunch when I noticed a charge. $18,462. Ocean Glide Cruises. My jaw tightened. I tapped for more details, heart thudding in my chest. The charge came from my personal card. Not the shared family trip card I'd reluctantly agreed to set up years ago, but my main one. The one I used for groceries and rent. I called the cruise line immediately. "Hi, I just noticed a charge from you guys on my personal card. It wasn't authorized." The customer service rep paused. "Let me pull it up." "Yes, it looks like you're listed as the primary on a group booking for 12 passengers, all under the last name family party." 12. That was all of them. Everyone. Including my younger cousins who still lived at home and had no income. Including my sister and her new boyfriend. Even my dad's weird golfing buddy, apparently. All booked under my card. Something inside me cracked, but it wasn't anger. It was something colder. Quieter. Precise. Like when you realize someone didn't just forget you. They used you. Assumed you'd be too passive to notice, too polite to object. I took a breath. "Can I cancel the entire booking? You want to cancel the full package?" "Yes. And I'd like the full refund returned to the original card, please." There was a pause. "The cruise is set to depart tomorrow morning." "I'm aware." Another pause. "As long as you're the primary cardholder and request cancellation at least 24 hours in advance, we can issue a full refund. It may take 3 to 5 business days to reflect." I exhaled slowly. "Perfect. Please proceed." That evening, I didn't say anything. I didn't post. I didn't text. I let it simmer. The next morning, while I sipped coffee in my apartment and logged into my now partially refunded bank account, the group chat lit up like wildfire. Photos from the port. Selfies with sunglasses. One of them even posted a picture of the ship behind them. "Ocean Glide, here we come. Tropical drink, water wave, sun." I didn't reply. Around 10:40 a.m., I got the first call. "Uncle Greg." I let it go to voicemail. Then Aunt Lisa. Then my sister. Then Zoe. Then a number I didn't recognize. Probably someone at the cruise terminal. Finally, I picked up when my dad called. "Alex, what did you do?" I took a long sip of my coffee. "Morning, Dad. They're saying the cruise is canceled. The whole thing's off. People are crying. They can't rebook. It's peak season." "That's unfortunate," I said flatly. Thought you'd be too busy with the ocean anyway. You canceled it. I didn't know I was even invited. Funny how that works. You could have just told us. Like how you told me about the trip? He was silent. I let it sit for a beat. They used my card without asking. I added. I didn't authorize that. I just did what any responsible cardholder would do. He mumbled something about overreacting, then hung up. But that wasn't even the real revenge. That was just the opening act. I had receipts. Literally. Years of them. Every charge I'd paid. Every deposit I'd covered. Every emergency hotel I'd booked when someone forgot theirs. All of it. Quietly filed and stored. I pulled up the folder and got to work. Because if they thought I'd just cancel the cruise and walk away, they hadn't seen step 2 yet. Step 2 started with an old email. One I hadn't thought about in a while, from a tax consultant friend I'd met at a tech networking event 2 years ago. His name was Rami, and back then he'd casually mentioned, if you ever have family mixing finances, keep your documentation. People forget who pays for what real quick. I never planned to need that advice, but I'd followed it anyway. Over the next few days, while the family stewed in tropical disappointment back home, luggage returned, photos deleted, and vacation dreams snapped in half, I spent my nights quietly organizing. Screenshots, PDF receipts, hotel confirmations, Uber records, even Venmo transactions with vague notes like, thanks, or got you next time folded hands that never actually turned into repayments. The amount was stunning. Over the past 6 years, I'd spent just under $46,000 on family-related expenses. That's not counting birthdays or Christmas gifts. Just the things I never got credit for. Trips, plane tickets, deposits, emergency contributions when a cousin's card randomly declined. I told myself I was being kind. That one day, they'd remember. They didn't. So I compiled a document, 16 pages long, titled it, Reimbursements and Unauthorized Charges Breakdown. I highlighted every single item, color-coded, included dates, payment method, who benefited, who promised to pay back. I didn't send it yet. I wanted the timing to hurt. That came the following Sunday. Family dinner, a weekly tradition that I used to attend back when it felt like I had a place at the table. This time, I didn't go. Instead, I emailed the document at exactly 6:05 p.m., the moment I knew they'd just sat down, plates full, chatter starting to rise. Subject, since we're talking about fairness. The replies hit like clockwork. First it was confusion, then defensiveness. Aunt Lisa replied, this feels a bit aggressive, don't you think? My cousin Jordan chimed in with, dude, it's family. Who keeps receipts like this? I didn't respond. I let them talk to themselves. Until the group chat, which had finally gone quiet since the cruise fiasco, started buzzing again. Someone had made a new group, called Family Core. I wasn't added. But they made one mistake. They didn't remove my email from the vacation booking platform. So when I got the auto reminder about the next family trip they were planning, a mountain lodge this time, I logged in and saw that they'd once again accidentally selected my card as the default. They never learn. I updated the payment details, removing my card, and instead added a new one. A prepaid burner card I'd loaded with exactly 1 cent. Just enough to pass validation, but not enough to reserve a paper napkin, let alone a 10-person ski lodge. Then I sat back. 3 days later, I got a call from the lodge manager. Hi, Mr. Ramirez. We're following up on the declined deposit for your group booking. It seems there was an issue with the payment method. We've held the rooms, but we'll need an alternate card within 24 hours or we'll have to cancel the reservation. I smiled. Oh, no worries at all. Cancel it. They won't be needing the rooms. Click. Later that night, I finally got a text from my sister. She'd been quiet through the whole thing. Never asked about the cruise. Never reached out about the email. Just sent me a single message. I get it now. I really do. I'm sorry. It hit different. She wasn't even the worst one. She'd just been complicit in silence, like most of them. But that message stuck with me longer than the yelling and the guilt trips that followed. Because step 3, that wasn't revenge. That was redefinition. I changed the login info on the family travel account. I called the bank and requested a new card, disabling all linked services. I shut down the shared family Google Drive where I'd stored itineraries, emergency contacts, and travel insurance copies over the years. And then I did the pettiest thing I've ever done in my life. I created a new group chat, titled it Ocean View 2025, and I added only 2 people, my best friend Noah and my sister. I posted one thing, a screenshot of a confirmed booking, an even bigger cruise next year. Private suite, balcony, butler service, spa credit, already paid in full. Then I sent a message beneath it, booked with my real crew this time. And just before I archived the chat, I saw the three little dots. My sister was typing, but I didn't stay to read it. Because step 4, that's where things really start to shift, and they have no idea what's coming next. Step 4 wasn't just about money. That part was already handled. The refunds had processed. The shared accounts were frozen. I'd updated every payment method linked to my name and made sure not a single automatic transaction from my bank touched theirs again. But I wasn't done. Because this wasn't just about a canceled cruise or a hijacked credit card. This was years of being overlooked, underappreciated, used like a backup plan, and then quietly erased when I wasn't convenient. What I wanted now was clarity. Not for me, for them. So I started with Zoe. She and I had been close once, back when we were kids, running barefoot through my grandparents' yard, climbing trees, racing bikes, sharing secrets. But somewhere along the way, she became one of them. One of the voices that joked about me being too busy or too serious. The ones who rolled their eyes when I stayed home to finish work. She was the one I told about my plans to join this cruise. The one who said I should totally come. And she still didn't say a word when they left me off the invite list. I invited her to coffee. She showed up late, sunglasses on, no apology. So this about the cruise drama? I didn't even flinch. Zoe, just answer one thing honestly. She leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. Shoot, did you know they were putting it on my card again? Her mouth opened, closed. Then she scoffed. Come on, Alex. They always put it on your card first. You know how this works. You cover it. We settle it later. It's not like they meant harm. They didn't settle anything, Zoe. They just assumed. Again. She looked away, fiddling with her spoon. Maybe they thought you wouldn't notice. And there it was. Not malice. Just indifference. The kind that cuts deeper than any insult. I nodded slowly. Thanks for your honesty. We didn't talk much after that. I paid the bill, of course, and left her with a quiet take care. That was the last time we spoke. But talking to Zoe gave me a better idea of the family's mindset. They didn't see it as betrayal. They saw it as convenience. And people like that don't change until their convenience disappears. So step 4 took shape. I started reaching out to other family members. Not to confront them. No yelling, no finger pointing. I was polite, calm, almost surgical. I'd message things like, hey, just noticed you were still listed on my Netflix account. I'll be removing everyone by the end of the week, so please make your own if you still need access. Or hi, just got notified my Disney Plus family plan has maxed out users. Realized it's all cousins. I'm switching to a solo account. One by one, I began reclaiming every little corner of my life that they had quietly taken space in. Subscriptions, streaming, my old Amazon Prime family group, where I'd footed every delivery fee for 5 years. Gone. The Costco card I shared with Aunt Lisa. Deactivated. Every time I removed something, I got messages. Some confused, some angry, some just awkward. Aunt Lisa wrote, "You're really doing all this over a vacation? Isn't this petty?" I replied, "I'm doing this because you've treated me like a utility, and I'm tired of being plugged in only when it's convenient." She left it on read. Then came the tipping point. My uncle, the same one who screamed at me after the cruise got canceled, called me in the middle of a workday. I usually let those go to voicemail, but something made me answer. "Alex," he said, voice tight. "You went too far." I leaned back in my chair. "Really? Which part?" "You embarrassed us. You humiliated this family. Everyone's talking about how you blew up over a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding that cost me $18,000. He didn't answer. I continued. "You know what the real embarrassment is? A grown man relying on his nephew's credit card to fund his vacations and then acting shocked when the free ride ends. That's not fair." "No, Uncle Bill. What's not fair is how many times I paid without a word. You all got used to it. But that ends now." He paused. "So that's it. You're cutting us all off." I thought for a moment. "Not cutting off. I'm just rebalancing the scales. You were happy when I was invisible. Now you get to feel what that's like." He hung up. No goodbye, just silence. And maybe that was the real shift. Not in them, in me. Because the longer this dragged on, the more I saw it clearly. I was never really part of the family in the way I thought. I was a service. A button they could press when something went wrong. A wallet they could tap when funds ran low. Not a person, not someone they celebrated, just someone they used. But now they didn't have that anymore. They were scrambling, trying to figure out new payment methods, new group leaders, new logistics. And for the first time in years, I felt weightless. Then, just as I started to settle into the quiet, I got a phone call I didn't expect. From my grandfather. He never called, not even on birthdays. We weren't close. He'd always been a little gruff, a little distant. But he called me, out of the blue. When I answered, he said, "Alex, you got time for lunch tomorrow?" I paused. Sure. He didn't explain, didn't say why, but something in his voice told me this wasn't just a casual meal. It was something more. And that's when I realized, whatever this was building toward, it wasn't over. Not even close. Lunch with my grandfather wasn't at a diner or a casual chain restaurant. He picked a quiet little Italian spot tucked behind an office building on the edge of town. A place with white tablecloths and waiters who called you sir, even if you showed up in jeans. He was already there when I arrived, sitting at a corner table, back straight, hands folded, staring out the window like a man waiting for news. I hadn't seen him in almost a year. He looked older, but not weaker, just more still. "Alex," he said, nodding once. "Sit." I did. We ordered quickly. He got the same thing he always used to, penne arrabbiata with extra chili. I got a salad I wasn't hungry for. And then he went quiet again until the bread arrived. "You know," he started, tearing off a piece of crust. "When I was your age, I worked 2 jobs and had 3 brothers who all acted like they were the ones doing me a favor every time I bailed them out." I blinked. "I didn't know that." "Of course not," he said. "Because I never said anything. Just like you." He looked at me then, not with judgment, but with a kind of reluctant admiration. "Your father's side of the family has a talent for pretending the hand that feeds them is just a lucky coincidence. They've been doing it for years. With me. With your father. With you." I didn't know what to say. I didn't expect support. Certainly not from him. "I saw the crews fall out," he went on. "They've been scrambling like headless chickens ever since. Fighting over who should have checked the payments. Arguing over whether you overreacted. Lisa called me crying. Said you humiliated them." I raised an eyebrow. "And what did you say?" I told her if she was so humiliated, maybe she should learn how to pay for her own vacations. He took a bite of bread, chewed it slowly. She hung up on me. I actually laughed. Not a loud laugh, but the kind that you don't realize has been stuck in your chest for years. "I didn't bring you here to pick sides," he said. "I brought you here to tell you that you're not crazy. You didn't imagine this. They used you, and they're mad you stopped letting them." That hit harder than I expected. Because even after all of it, the receipts, the canceled bookings, the sudden flood of guilt, a small part of me still wondered if I'd gone too far. If I'd become the villain in my own family. But hearing that from him, it grounded me. He leaned in. "You're not just a wallet, Alex. And if they can't treat you like family, you're better off without them." We talked for a while after that. About old stories I'd never heard. About how he used to hide his overtime checks from my grandmother just so he could help his brother with hospital bills. About the resentment, the quiet anger, the years it took him to finally say, "No more." It was like hearing the backstory of a life I didn't know I was repeating. Before we left, he pulled out a folded envelope and slid it across the table. "This is for you. Not because you need it, I know you're fine, but because no one else in this family will ever say thank you the way you deserve." I opened it when I got home. Inside was a check for $50,000 and a note. For the cruises, for the birthdays, for everything they forgot. Spend it on something that doesn't forget you. I didn't cash it right away. I just sat with it. Let it be real. The following week, I booked a solo trip. Not a cruise. Something quieter, a cabin in Alaska overlooking the mountains, just as the northern lights started showing up for the season. I turned off my phone, brought books, and stayed off the grid. It was the first vacation I'd taken in years that didn't involve coordinating for 10 people, covering 3, and being forgotten by all. When I got back, the family had finally stopped calling. Mostly. A few tried to reach out. Half-hearted apologies, guilt-laced texts, invitations to brunch that felt more like tests. I didn't respond to most. Except for Zoe. Her message came late one night. "I found a spreadsheet in my email from years ago. You paid for that Thailand trip." I didn't know. "I'm sorry I joked about you being a buzzkill. I was being cruel. You didn't deserve that." I typed. Erased. Typed again. finally replied, "Thanks. I just wanted to feel like I mattered. Like I was part of it all." She replied a few minutes later, "You always were. We were just too selfish to see it." It didn't fix things, but it was something. A crack in the wall. I didn't rejoin the family group chat. Didn't attend the next birthday party. I sent a card and a gift. Nothing expensive, just thoughtful. And that's what I kept doing. No more blank checks. No more emergency lifelines. Just boundaries, built clean and solid. The craziest part? Life got quieter. Simpler. I had more time. More space. I started reading more. Cooking. I even picked up piano again. Something I gave up when I was 18 and got pulled into the whirlwind of being everyone's backup. 6 months later, I got a wedding invite from my cousin Rachel. I almost didn't go, but then I saw the name at the bottom. Reception hosted by the couple. That had never happened before. I went. Sat near the middle. No kids' table. No guilt. No passive-aggressive jokes. When the best man gave his toast, he thanked everyone who supported them emotionally and financially. He looked directly at me and smiled. And for once, I smiled back. Not because I needed recognition, but because I'd finally learned the difference between being part of a family and being used by one. And I would never, ever forget it again.